Hi, this is Hemant, and today I will be talking about algae. This lecture will be divided into two parts, and we will be answering many topics or many questions on algae, such as what are algae, what about their habitat, are there any specific habitats for their growth, what is their habit, are there any uses of them to humans, do they play any role in ecosystem? These questions will be discussed in this lecture, while how are the algae classified and the most used classification system will be answered in the second topic. So first of all, what are algae? Algae are photosynthetic organisms that possess photosynthetic pigments such as chlorophyll. However, they lack true roots, stem, and leaves. Some of them are unicellular, whereas others are multicellular. They may form colonies or they may be solitary. Most of the algae are aquatic. So the next is, what about their habitat? Algae are mostly aquatic, as we know. Many of these algae are found in moist soil or on moist rocks, barks of trees, and etc. While some algae also occur on specialized habitats such as snow, hot springs, on other animals, other fungi, plants, or on rocks. Okay, and they can be differentiated on such habitats too, and such differentiation will be discussed now. The first term is benthophytes. These are the algae which are attached to the bottom of the water bodies. Example, in freshwater, Cara nitella, while in marine water, the well-known example is Sargassum or Padaina, which are attached to the rock surface below the seawater. Okay. The next is planktons. They float on the water surface, and the examples are Cnidasmus, Cosmarium, Clostridium, and the list goes on. Mostly all the desmids are planktons. We call them phytoplanktons. The next one is sapophytes. Surface of the soil is their habitat. Means they grow on the soil, above the soil surface. And the example is, it's very common, that is Frischella. The next is cryptophytes, means they grow below the soil surface. And examples are nostoc, anebana. These are BGAs. Okay. The next is lithophytes, means they grow on moist rocks or moist walls. A very common one is cytonema. The next criteria is halophytes, means they grow in saline soil or saline waters. Okay. The example is some species of oscillatoria. The next is epiphytes, means they grow on other living plants or other large algae or microalgae. The examples are Udogonium, Microspora. Then another one is Carassium. The next criteria is epizoophytes, means they grow on other aquatic animals like molluscan shells, fishes, turtles. Okay, and the example is Cladophora, Carassium, or we can say Chitophora. These are the examples. Next criteria is cryophytic algae, means they grow on ice or snow. There are many cases in Arctics or Antarctics that the snow is colored, maybe red colored, green colored. For example, basic example or common example of red colored snow is due to the presence of some species of Chlamydomonas or Glyocapsa or many other diatoms which produce this red color, which gives the snow red color due to its habitat. And the last one we are going to know is thermophytes, which the algae which grow in hot springs nearly about 80 degrees Celsius is there tolerant temperature. And the examples are few species of Oscillatoria. These grow in hot springs. While this is about the habitat or specialized habitat conditions, the next one is what about their habit, their morphology. Algae show a great diversity in their forms of habit, from unicellular to multicellular, from filamentous to solitary, or motile to non-motile forms. We will discuss about the unicellular, multicellular forms. In unicellular forms, we can see solitary algal cells, means which grow alone, which complete their cycles, life cycles alone. While there are also other, such as colonial forms, means all the algal cells of a species are engulfed or covered in a gelatinous sheath. Okay, and the example, best well-known example is volvox. Okay, next one is filamentous algae, means during their growth or divisions, the cells are arranged side by side to form a filament-like structure, and the well-known example is Pyrogera, Cladophora. Okay, I forgot to mention about the examples of solitary forms. The examples are chlorella, and there are many desmids again, such as Cosmarium, Closterium. We find semicells, but they are not multicellular. They are unicellular, having two semicells. Okay. Then the next one is about the multicellular forms. I call them very complex structures, just complex structures because they have leaf-like structures. Sometimes they have leaf-like structures. They have root-like structures. For example, there is Padina, Sargassum, Chara, everything. There is also Nightella, but I want to talk a little bit more on Sargassum. A sargassum has a primary lateral which resembles to the primary axis in aquatic plants, while the sargassum also has secondary laterals, which is nothing but similar to the leaf-like structures in aquatic plants. Also, they have male conceptacle, female conceptacles, also air bladders, and the most important is they have an holdfast or a rhizoid-like structure, which is used for anchoring to a substratum. So this is a complex structure in multicellular forms. The next one is motile and non-motile forms. The motility is due to the presence of flagella. The flagella may be 1 to 2. So everyone knows what are the two flagellar types, and tensile type and whiplash type. In multicellular forms or in motile forms, there are many examples such as Euglena, also Pandorina, Climadomonas, Trachelomonas. And while in non-motile forms, the most desmids are all non-motile, like Cosmarium, Closterium, then we have Triploceras, many. So the list goes on. Cylindrocystis, Senedesmus, Chlorella, these are all non-motile forms. The next part of this lecture is based upon the uses of alga to human beings. The first part is food and health. The seaweed cultivation forms a major industry, particularly in Japan, China, and Korea, where many algal species are grown by aquaculture. For example, nori. Nori is an seaweed which is used to wrap sushi, which is a food in these countries, which is wrapped by this nori alga. Okay, while these algae have essential micronutrients such as magnesium, calcium, potassium, iodine, iron, and zinc, and are all used as food supplements. The next is fertilizers. Algae have long been used as fertilizers in crops as they provide a rich source of nutrients and organic matter Many BGAs can trap the nitrogen, means they can fix nitrogen. The examples are nostoc, anavenna. They are used commonly. Alga can directly be used or deposited in the land where they decompose or fix nitrogen, or they can be used and extract and sprayed on the crops. Then there are very much more industrial and commercial uses. The first one is dyes. Everyone knows there is great diversity in alga. They can produce lot of pigments, and many commercial pigments such as phycoerythrin, phycocyanins, then there is beta carotene, which are being produced by alga, and they are extracted from them and then used in industries or commercial purposes or uses. The first is phycoerythrin, which is a red pigment extracted from red algae, that is Rhodophyta, Rhodophyceae, and the best common example is Porphyridium cruneatum. The next is phycocyanin, which is a blue pigment which is produced by the blue-green algae such as Cyanophyceae or Cyanophyta. And the most common example is Spirulina platensis. Also, there is another algae, Dunaliella salina, a halophytic green algae which is used for production of beta carotene and which is used as a food colorant which imparts yellowish orange color to the food. This pigment is derived from pheophytes also. And there are many pheophytes which can give this same pigment beta carotene, which is also used for coloring of food products. And mostly they yield about a brownish color to your food. Also, there is another commercial important algae which is called as Haematococcus pulvilis. It is reddish colored. It can give a pigment which is called as astaxanthine. Okay, and this is also used in medical industries because it is anti-cancerous activity. It shows anti-cancerous activity. The next use in industries is about thickening agents. Many alginates such as carrageenan from algae is widely used as stabilizers in food to prevent the separation of mixtures. Carrageenan can also be found as a food thickener in a range of products such as ice creams, toothpastes, and cosmetics. The next is lab techniques. In laboratory, the basic agar medium, the agar, is obtained from an algal source, the alga called as Gracilaria. The alga, the medium used in lab to culture the bacteria as well as other lab techniques such as gel hydrophoresis is derived from this red alga. Also, Volvox is a model organism for understanding sex phenomena, morphogenesis, formation of somatic cell lines undergoing terminal differentiation, senescence, cell death, and cell interactions. Till recent years, this was concentrated only in Volvox carteri, but now more recently Volvox aureus has also been used and it is established such as a model organism for studies in embryological biology, or we can say developmental biology. The next major use is biofuels. Alga also hold a great potential to be used as carbon neutral fuels. Many species of microalgae have high lipid content that can be readily extracted and converted to biodiesel. They also process high concentration of fermentable sugars, making them suitable for bioethanol productions. There is no particular algae which is used, but diatoms are mostly used for this purpose. And there is a lab, a commercial lab in Gujarat, which is working on biofuels. The next part is bioplastic. Alga naturally produce polymers that have a great potential for bioplastic production, such as starch or polyhydroxyalkanoates. They are also called as PHAs, and it is a great substitute for plastic. This plastic will be degradable. And the last part or the use today we are going to study is pollution control. Alga can also be used in waste material treatment. as they metabolize and break down the waste substances, thereby avoiding the use of any toxic chemicals in these sources. There are other many uses such as alga used in as SCP, single cell proteins. Many species such as spirulina, chlorella, and also Senedesmus have been preferred to use as single cell proteins as a source of protein molecules. Okay, so this is about food culture. Also, we should know about mariculture. What is mariculture? Mariculture is nothing but algal farming in those nations like Japan, China. This mariculture has a lot of scope, and also I can say it produces lot of their income, and hence we should use or do mariculture, practice mariculture also in India, because it is not that important in India. The next part and the last part of this lecture is role in balancing the ecosystem. How do these algae play a role in balancing the ecosystem? Algae play a great role in ecosystem, especially the aquatic ecosystem. They are primary sources of oxygen, primary sources of food, we all know. You should know that microscopic algae or microalgae are arguably the source of more than half of the world's oxygen through photosynthesis. They turn this carbon dioxide into biomass and release the oxygen. Ecologically, the algae are present at the base of the food chain or a food pyramid. They are the beginning of the transfer of solar energy to the biomass that transfers up to the tropic levels to the top predators. Means the phytoplanktons are the primary producers. They are mostly single cell type. They are being eaten by the smaller animals or fishes like zooplanktons, and this are being again eaten by the larger fishes, and this goes on and on up till the tertiary predators or the larger predators. Hence we say they play an important role in balancing the ecosystem. Thank you for hearing out about alga. In the next lecture we will be talking about how are they classified and the classification system. Basically we will be talking about fish classification system because it was most widely used, most widely accepted. There are many new classification systems like Bold and Venn. Okay.